He asked Israel to arm Ukraine. Israel said no. Netanyahu didn't want to upset Russia. Now, a former British Defense Secretary says that calculation has come back to haunt Israel directly. Russia spent that goodwill on Iranian drones. Those drones eventually found new targets. Netanyahu protected a relationship with Moscow. Moscow spent the savings on weapons pointed at Tel Aviv. Israel's decision to stay out of the war in Ukraine is back under the spotlight. A former British Defense Secretary now claims he personally urged Benjamin Netanyahu's government to arm Kyiv, but Israel refused, fearing it would damage relations with Russia. Years later, he argues, that decision has come back to haunt Israel itself. Former UK Defense Secretary Ben Wallace has revealed that he urged Benjamin Netanyahu's government to provide military assistance to Ukraine after Russia's full-scale invasion. But Israel declined because it did not want to upset Moscow. Wallace, who served as Britain's defense secretary between 2019 and 2023 and was one of the earliest Western advocates for arming Ukraine, made the comments in a post on X.
I recommended to Benjamin Netanyahu's government that he help Ukraine. Israel declined, saying they didn't want to upset Russia. So Russia kept spending nearly $1 billion+ on Iranian drones. Now, ordinary Israelis have to face the consequences of Netanyahu's judgment. Since the invasion of Ukraine, Israel has welcomed all the dirty Russia money and crooks. A sad decline for a once decent country.
According to Wallace, Israel's refusal to support Kyiv allowed Russia to continue spending heavily on Iranian-made drones, with consequences that have since reached Israel itself. Wallace's remarks were supported by John Foreman, the former British defense attaché to both Moscow and Kyiv. Foreman said he had made the same argument to the Israeli ambassador in Moscow, adding that Iranian operatives were at the time plotting attacks against members of the embassy staff. Israel's cautious approach to the war in Ukraine was well documented during the early years of the conflict. While Israel provided humanitarian assistance and certain protective equipment, it consistently declined to supply weapons or air defense systems to Ukraine. At the time, Israeli officials publicly linked that decision to the need to preserve their deconfliction arrangements with Russian forces operating in Syria, as well as concerns over the security of Jewish communities living in Russia. Wallace's latest comments came during an exchange on X with Eugene Kontorovich, a law professor at George Mason University, who had renewed his call for Israel to recognize Argentine sovereignty over the Falkland Islands as a response to Britain's recent policies towards Israel. The United Kingdom has consistently rejected any challenge to its sovereignty over the Falkland Islands, pointing to the overwhelming vote by island residents in the 2013 referendum to remain a British overseas territory. Wallace's intervention has once again revived questions over Israel's balancing act between Russia and the West during the Ukraine war. Russia has sent a clear signal just off Britain's doorstep. A heavily armed Russian warship has carried out a live-fire weapons exercise less than 50 nautical miles from the UK, while under the watch of the Royal Navy. The dramatic drill has raised fresh concerns about Moscow's increasingly assertive military posture and comes as Britain's new Prime Minister faces his first major security test. A Russian Navy frigate conducted a live-fire gunnery exercise approximately 40 nautical miles south of Plymouth on July 20th, while being shadowed by the Royal Navy patrol vessel HMS Tyne. The exercise lasted around 30 minutes, with the Royal Navy observing every stage of the operation. The Ministry of Defense confirmed the exercise, but did not disclose which weapons were fired by the Russian vessel. Luke Pollard, Member of Parliament for Plymouth Sutton and Devonport, and Minister of State for Defence, Readiness and Industry, confirmed the drill through a post on X.
Earlier today, a Russian naval vessel conducted a brief live-fire weapons exercise in international waters, approximately 40 nautical miles south of Plymouth.
The Neustrashimy, which serves with Russia's Baltic Fleet, is a heavily armed frigate equipped with a 4-inch main gun, anti-ship missiles, torpedoes, and close-in weapons systems. Commissioned more than 3 decades ago, the vessel carries a crew of around 200 personnel. The 425-feet vessel, which is part of Putin's Baltic Fleet, is crewed by about 200 personnel. It is unclear when Russia last staged a gunnery exercise this close to the UK. At the time of the incident, the frigate was also being monitored by a French maritime aircraft. The live-fire drill lasted about 30 minutes, during which HMS Tyne monitored the activity. A Ministry of Defence spokesman said,
"The Royal Navy monitored that exercise throughout, continues to track the vessel's activity closely, and stands ready to protect UK national security."
The provocation by the Kremlin is being seen as the first military challenge for Burnham and West Streeting, his new defence secretary. According to a report from The Telegraph, the Russian warship was being closely shadowed by HMS Tyne at a distance of 2 miles at the time of the drill, which took place along the international waters. Russian commanders warned the Navy vessel to move back before its gunnery exercise, with Tyne pulling back to a distance of about 5 nautical miles. Defence sources suggested the timing and location of the exercise may have been intended as a deliberate show of force.
It was quite unusual for the Russian ship to conduct such an exercise like this in the Channel. Although it is international waters, the Channel is a busy shipping lane. Drills like this would normally take place in more open waters. You could speculate that Russia was trying to challenge us. They know where the line is, and they are just starting to use a bit more obvious exercising and training to remind us.
Despite the provocative nature of the exercise, British officials stressed that the drill took place in international waters and that the Royal Navy maintained continuous surveillance throughout. As tensions between NATO and Russia remain high, military encounters such as this are becoming increasingly significant. While no international laws were broken, Moscow's decision to conduct live-fire drills so close to the British coastline sends a powerful message, one that London will undoubtedly be watching very carefully.